Sir, we are live, sir.
Hello, good evening to everyone who's joined us today this evening. Welcome to the orientation session of the online BSc degree in programming and data science. I believe all of you who are expected to be in this orientation session, you've already qualified for the program in the previous term, and you've done one term of courses with us. You've done I don't know how many courses you registered for, depends on your CCC. I guess you know quite a few terms already about the course. You've gone through assignments, you've gone through exams, you've done everything. Now we're ready to move on to the next term. And this orientation is to basically give you some guidance on what will be similar to the previous term, what will be very different from the previous term, what you should be mentally prepared for, how you should be working, etc., etc., etc. Basically, a lot of free advice in some sense, but it's also very useful advice. You may be hearing a lot of things from your fellow students, from your peers, from non-peers of other groups and programs across the I mean your friend circles and all that. This you can think of as official advice that comes from officially from us. I turned the video on. I don't know what to do. What else can I do? No, I can see the video here in the small thing. Okay, so there's some technical issue with my video. I'm not sure if my video is coming through or not. Anyway, let me continue. I think as far as the audio is coming. This stop Okay, so there was some issue with my video coming, so I hope maybe the video is coming now. Let me just shift to presentation mode. I think maybe the video is coming now. Okay, all right. So let's continue. So let me begin. We have a bunch of slides for you. We usually take about an hour or so, maybe a little bit more. I don't know. We'll go through. I'm joined here by Bharati. She's on the other side of the table, so I want to turn the monitor around. But hopefully, she will also talk, pitch in, and describe many things that I may not be fully conversant with as far as rules and regulations are concerned. Okay, so let's get started. So this is the program. You are at the foundation level. You've cleared the qualifiers. Congratulations on your achievement. And you've registered and you've finished a few courses, and now you're still at the foundation level. You've not finished the foundation level. You're going to register for more foundation level courses. What are these courses we're talking about? The first set is Math 1, English 1, Stats 1, and Computation Thinking. Some of you may have done all 4 in the first term. Some of you may have done 3. Some of you may have done 2. Some of you may have done 1. All that is fine. Or maybe you didn't do a course at all in your first term. You postponed the registration to the Jan term. That's also likely. Okay. So you will be doing courses among this 8. And each course has its own type of difficulty level, own type of content, all of that you must have heard already. I can give you from the top of my head. Statistics 2 is easily considered the most difficult course among the 8 courses here, closely followed by Mathematics 2. And after that, most of the courses are reasonable. Students have a pretty good success rate in most of the other courses. But they all have their own flavor, their own level of difficulty and interest. Okay, hopefully you have a sense of it from your first term, and you will develop more going into the next terms as well. Okay, so here are multiple ways in which you can plan out how many courses you want to do. If you're depending on what your goals are, depending on what your CCC is, right? Your CCC must allow you to do these things. You may want to do 4 courses every term, which is the max you can do, and finish off both diplomas very quickly, or at least one diploma very, very quickly. That's possible. You will take at least 4 terms to finish one diploma, and the number of people who do that is actually quite less. Not many people do this. The most preferred option is probably the second option, where you do about 3 courses max every term and slowly work your way towards an entire diploma. So even in that way, you can finish one diploma in 6 terms and 2 diplomas a little over a year, right? So it's possible to spread it out, or maybe 3 years. You can do both diplomas very comfortably in 3 years' time. So that's the possibility. And of course, if you really are looking at the entire degree, there are multiple ways to do that as well. If you do keep taking 4 courses every term, you can finish well within 3 years. Of course, you have to clear every course every time. That's always a difficulty. If you pace yourself, you take a little more, 3 more terms, and that's okay. If you can afford it, that's very, very good. Okay. So this is a plan, and we want to tell you that, typically in your college or any other college you're used to, you're always told what to do every semester. You don't get a choice. You don't get to plan. Here you get to plan. Okay, so you have to plan out what you will do for the whole term, because your situation may differ. You may be busy in one term, you may be doing other things, so you have to sort of optimize and make sure you make a best choice for yourself. So this entire choice is up to you, dictated by CCC. As long as CCC loves you to do it, then all this is possible. Okay. So here are 3 different pathways for doing the foundation courses alone. Okay. The fastest, of course, is finishing it off in 2 terms. You do the first 4 courses in the first term, second 4 courses in the second term. A lot of people who do it are very, very surprised by the intensity of Maths 2 and Stats 2. It's very, very hard to do both of them together if you're not used to that kind of intensity. It's much, much more intense than your first term. Okay, definitely for Stats 2, I can give you guarantees. It's very intense when compared to Stats 1. Same thing is true for Maths 2. It's got lots of new ideas. English 2 and Introduction to Python, maybe they are similar to English 1 and computation thinking, but Maths 2 and Stats 2 are a significant step up. Okay, so if you're not sure, never do both together. Go for a very comfortable pace like the medium pace, where you do Math 2 in the term 2, and then you do Stats 2 and Intro to Python in the third term. So 3 terms, which is 1 year, and it's very, very comfortable. You can finish your foundation very, very comfortably. In fact, if you want to do just 2 courses, you can even do that. It's much more comfortable than that. You can really focus on every subject and learn it well. That's also advisable. But the medium pace, I think, is a good pace to go with. Okay. But once again, let me warn you. The fastest pace is going to be really, really taxing. Think once, twice, thrice, 4 times before you commit to something like that, and it's a serious. It's going to take a lot of effort from you to clear both of those comfortably. Okay. So fee per course. This is again lots of different type of fee. I'll start with the bottommost. The easiest is the bottommost. If you don't come into any of the special categories, then you pay 4,000 per course that you register for, and then you pay only what you register for. You don't pay anything more than that. That is the most common fee, which is the fee that you would pay normally. If you fall under any of these special categories, and there's a lot of documents you'll have to produce to fall into this category, where your annual family income may be less than or equal to 5 lakhs or less than or equal to 1 lakh. Plus, you may be in OBC, NCL, or EWS category, or SC/ST category. Whatever category you fall into, you pay reduced fee, and the reduced fee is shown here. This is per course, and that's the number that you have. I don't want to go into too many details, but at least the bottom line is maybe clear to you. Okay, so the January 2022 term. Okay, so of course, those who have cleared the qualifier in July can register, and the registration will open shortly, or has already opened. I'm not sure. I think it's about to open, or yesterday it opened, and then they're opening it again today, I think. So people who've either done a few courses in July, or you've not registered in July at all, you're only registering fresh in Jan, you can register for courses in the January 2022 term. Okay. So the first thing to focus on in every term is the assessment. Okay. In this January 2022 term, there will be 2 in-person quizzes and 1 end-term examination. Okay. Note down these dates. There are 3 Sundays in the January 2022 term that are important. Jan 30, 2022 is quiz 1, and March 13, 2022 is quiz 2, and April 3, 2022 is final exam. Okay, so these are the 3 days in which you will have to visit the center that you're allotted for this exam, and then you'll have to write the exam. Okay, 1 minute. Apologize for that. So hopefully these dates are clear, and there are some other things that may happen here. You may have remote proctored examinations, particularly for the Python course. I think that's the place where you need it. You will have to show your Python programming skills in an exam, and then for that there will be a remote proctored exam which you can take from your home. The dates for that will also be given to you. Okay, so hopefully these dates are clear. These are the dates for the in-person exam in the center, and you should be prepared for that. Okay. Oh, got it right. Okay. Okay, so these are for students who are going to, who are going to be doing the qualifier in the January term. Okay, so if you've already qualified, I presume this session is primarily for people who are already qualified in the July term, but maybe there are still some of you who are yet to qualify, who are preparing for the qualifier in the Jan term. Then you will not get your email ID. You will be still using your personal ID for accessing the dashboard and all that. Once you clear the qualifiers, you will get a student.onlinedegree.iitm.ac.in and your ID card. You will get all of that. You will get at that time. Of course, if you already have an email ID and already have an ID card, this doesn't apply to you. This is for people who are going to be writing the qualifier on Jan 30 and doing so. And as you know, the qualifier also is considered quiz 1 for such students if you choose to continue registering for courses. Okay, so the quizzes, okay, so a little bit of description on what the quizzes are and what weeks they test, etc. Quiz 1 will be based on the contents of weeks 1 to 4. Okay, 4 weeks of content will be tested in quiz 1. So yeah, and then qualifier will be treated as quiz 1 score if you wrote the qualifier in October. Okay, so from the previous term, the quiz 1 score alone will carry over for you. So students who did not write their qualifier in October 10th and qualified just in the previous term, you will have to write quiz 1 again. Otherwise, you get 0 for quiz 1. So make sure that your substitution for quiz 1 using qualifier score is valid. So keep that in mind. Of course, continuing students in January, for them, that should hold as well. But if you cleared your qualifiers only in the previous term, in the October term, then your quiz 1 score will be substituted with the qualifier score. And you can also choose to write a quiz 1. I think it's not, though it's not mentioned here. You could write quiz 1 afresh also. I think it's possible. Right now, I mean, particularly if students who qualified before October, right? We will not substitute your quiz 1 score, so you have to appear in person and write it. Okay. The duration is 1 hour per course. Okay, and you write the quiz only for your registered courses. You may see the question papers of the courses that you have not registered for. Do not attempt anything there. Leave it blank. Only attempt the questions that you're supposed to answer. So presumably you know what courses you've registered for. You can identify the question paper. It will be written there, of course, very clearly. but still we have cases of students writing the wrong question paper and getting confused with it. So make sure you write the correct question paper, identify that, and attempt it. Okay. So similarly, quiz 2 will be based on the contents of week 1 to 8. Okay. At the end of 8th week, after some time, you will have quiz 2, and it's based on the contents of weeks 1 to 8. The same duration, and of course, you write quiz 2 only for the course you are registered. Okay. So this is clear. Okay. So now, for 7 out of the 8 subjects in the foundation level, the scoring, eligibility, final grade, everything is very, very simple and clean. Everything is based on 2 quizzes and 1 final exam. Okay. First of all, there is an eligibility for the end semester exam. This is like an attendance requirement. Most colleges you go to, only if you attend enough classes, you become eligible to write the exam. Like that, you have to show that you've been regular in your work throughout the term. Okay. For that, we expect that the best 5 out of your first 9 weeks of graded online assignments, the best 5 out of them should be at least 40%. Okay, we expect that, and we expect that you attend 1 out of the 2 quizzes, in-person quizzes that we conduct. So these 2 you have to do. This is like minimum attendance requirement. Only if you do this, you will get a hall ticket for the final exam. Otherwise, you will not get a hall ticket. Okay, number 1. Number 2, you have to attend the final exam, the end term exam, to get a grade in that particular course. Otherwise, you will not get a grade. Okay. So the final course score is a formula involving your quiz 1 score, quiz 2 score, and final exam. Okay. It will depend on whether you wrote both quizzes or whether you wrote only 1 quiz. There is a formula which will be different for it. You can check your the announcements that come out. Every course will have a grading policy page. You can go to the dashboard, check it out, and you will know what it is. Okay. So of course, if you get 100% in everything, you'll get the S grade, right? So all that is true. So do well and write every exam well, you'll do okay. Okay. So here is the calculation. I told you that there are 3 scores, quiz 1, quiz 2, and F. And your final score, the total score, has 10% weightage for the online graded assignments. So GAA, first of all, you see it's calculated score of the best 7 out of all the weekly assignments are taken into consideration. And then there are 2 different formulae here, max over 2 things, depending on whether you wrote, depending on your quiz 1 score, quiz 2 score, and final exam. So a typical scenario to consider is you wrote all 3 exams. Okay, then it's very likely that you will get 40% for your final. So you have 0.4F plus 25% for your quiz 1, 25% for your quiz 2. Okay, so that adds up to 90 plus your 10% for the graded assignment. That's 100%. Okay, supposing maybe you missed one of the quizzes. Okay, so then the second formula is very likely to apply to you. 60% for the final, 25% for one of the quizzes that you wrote. Okay, and 10% for the GAA, the graded assignments. So you see that adds up to a 95% only. So if you miss one of the quizzes, you directly lose 5% in your total. But still, you have a chance of getting an S. You still have a chance of getting an S if you get to 95, close to 95 in total. Okay. So this is the formula. Timing for the quiz is also given. Quiz 1 and quiz 2 are in the afternoon. Final exam is both in the morning and in the afternoon. So this will need some planning on your part. What will you do between 12 and 2? Test center is a bit remote. I have to eat food, this, that. All of that will need to be planned by you ahead of time. Be prepared for it and then go and write your exam. Okay. So hopefully this is clear. But I think more than anything, I think all these formulae you can optimize. More than anything, you have to be regular. Every week, try to make sure you attempt the graded assignments sincerely and correctly and learn how to solve them on your own. There's lots of problems and questions that will come at you. Attempt them all on your own, then you'll be fine, right? So if you don't have to do any serious optimization much beyond that. For stats too, I want to say that there are some bonus points for extra activities. The course has some extra activity. You have to look at some data, to do some additional work around it. If you do that, you get some bonus marks beyond this. Any bonus marks is above whatever is that you get out of 100. Okay. Hope that was was clear. Okay, so now we come to Python. Python is there's a couple of important modifications. Okay, first of all, Python, as you know, is a programming language. So every week there will be graded objective type assignments and also a graded programming assignment. Okay, so both of them are important. You have to keep submitting both regularly. And look at the eligibility for the final exam. It says the average of the best 5 out of 9 weekly programming assignments should be 40. 5 of the 9 weekly auto-graded assignments should be 40. Both of those should be satisfied. If you miss any one, then you won't get your hall ticket. Both are considered as attendance requirements. Okay. And also, there will be 2 programming exams. So you see the dates for the programming exams are not yet.
Yeah, it's all done.
It's all done, but I don't see it on the slide. So we'll tell you when maybe.
Grading document after this. Many questions are coming up.
Okay. So we will tell you what dates are. So they are quiz 2 and quiz 3. Okay. Is that correct? Yeah. Right. Quiz 2 and quiz 3. So you see those 2 dates. It's on 20th Feb and 20th March. Yeah, both dates are there. I got confused by quiz 2. So one of the 2 programming exams you have to attend. Okay. You have to attend one of the 2 programming exams and the final exam. Okay. These are the conditions for you to get the course grade. So you do that, note down the dates and the timings and all that. So of course, if you don't attempt any of these, you get a score of 0. And assuming you attend some, not attend some, you'll get different scores. And based on your assignment score, quiz 1, quiz 2, quiz 3, and the final exam, there is this complicated looking formula to get the score, overall final score for which you'll be graded. It's not very complicated. You can see what is done. It's about 20% weightage for the best out of quiz 2 and quiz 3, and 10% weightage for the least out of quiz 2 and quiz 3. So you can see quiz 2 and quiz 3 you have to attend. That's very important. And then either 60% weightage for the final exam, or 50 for the final exam, and 20 for quiz 1. So you can see it's a bit complicated, many variables here. And after all, you're doing a course in data science, right? So if you can't manipulate data at this level, maybe you should learn how to do it. Okay, so this is just to give enough flexibility for people to, who are unable to do it for some, unavoidable reason. We're not saying you should try not to write all the exams. You should try your best to write every exam and do well in every exam, be regular. That's when you get the best out of this course, right? So, but even then, to give enough flexibility for people, there is a formula of this sort. Okay, I hope this is clear. And like Bharti was saying, there'll be more detail when we discuss the grading policy. Okay, so this is the grading scheme and the pass criteria. So for every course, I told you how this capital T is calculated. That's the total score. And depending on where you fall, you get a grade. Okay, and the grade gets converted into a grade point. And all the grades E and above are pass, U is fail. Then there's also a W8, WQ, depending on whether you qualified or not. And you may be also given an I grade, saying that you could not write the end-term exam alone, but otherwise you qualified for a grade. Okay, so this is the grading scheme. Okay, so then there is this important concept called CCCs, which is the credit clearing capability, which we definitely enforce at the foundation level. So if your marks, okay, so there is a way in which we define this mark S. In term 2, it is just the average of all courses taken in term 1, which you have passed. Okay, average of all past courses in term 1. In term 3 or 4 onwards, I think for most of you, I think the first formula will apply. But for if you're in term 3 or 4 or higher, we take the average marks of courses passed in the previous 2 terms. Okay. All right. So it's active status, all that is important. So we take only marks for which in total marks for courses in which you passed. Okay, that's important. If that S lies between 0 and 50, your CCC is 2. If it's between 50 and 70, it's 3. It's above 70, it's 4. Okay, so only when you keep consistently doing well can you register for 4 courses? Otherwise, you'll have to register for only 3 courses. Okay, so there's some rules here. You can read it when you have time. But CCC is an important thing. It will control how many courses you can register. If you had actually registered and done courses in the July term, by now you should know what your CCC is, and go ahead and you'll be able to register for that many courses in the upcoming term. Okay. So what happens if you don't get a passing grade? If you get, there are 3 options for not getting a passing grade. Of course, you can also get an I. If you get an I, that's not it put up here at this slide. What happens if you get a WA, WQ, or you get a U? Okay, so if your assignment score, average assignment score is less than 40, if your total is less than 40, or you did not attend any quiz, you have to repeat the entire course. Okay, so meaning you have to register, go week after week, submit all assignments, submit all, attend quizzes. You're like, repeating the course totally. The previous attempt completely got erased, right? Something like that. Okay, you have to pay a fee for repeating the course. It's the same as doing a fresh course. Okay, so that's what happens if you get WA, WQ, or U. Okay, one of those 3 grades, this is what you need to do. Okay, if you got an I grade, right, then there is a slightly easier path for repeating. So you can write only the end term exam for that course alone in the subsequent term. Okay, so there is a reduced fee for writing the end term alone. Your quiz scores will be carried over from the previous term. That's what we will do, and it will count towards your CCC. Even though you're repeating this course and only writing the end term exam, it will count towards your CCC. Okay, you can choose to not carry over your quiz score, etc., and then completely re-register and do again. You can do that also, but later on. But if you choose to only want to write the end term exam, you should do that in the immediate next term. Right? You can't skip the immediate next term, then come back after 2 terms and say, I want to repeat only the end term exam. That's not possible. Okay? If you get an I grade in this term, you can write the end term alone in the immediate next term. Okay, so that's also something that's important. Okay, you can register for other courses along with the repeat if your CCC permits you to do so. Okay, you can also drop a course. You registered for maybe 4 courses, Maths 2, Stats 2, and after 3 weeks you find, this is really not possible. Then you can drop a course. So there is 4 weeks within which you should do it. I think there's a particular time that is set. There'll be a window. There'll be a window. Look at the calendar very closely to identify that window. Within that window, you have to drop and then say that you're dropping. Okay. There's also a completely quit the program option. You can do that. That is a completely different status. We're not talking about the course alone. You can, without quitting the program, you can drop 1 or 2 courses as possible. So this is quitting the program. That is something else. There is the status called active, which you have to maintain, right? So if you don't register for any courses, you'll be put into academic probation, and then after that you'll get to struck off the rolls. There is a way in which you can lose your student status very quickly. So you have to watch out for that. And if you want to come back, then there is some fee to be paid and all that. So it's a complicated step. So I would suggest really keep yourself active. Make sure you don't lose your active status. Okay, so there is a set of fee and all that. All this information is there on the website. You can go through and look at it. When you drop a course, we do retain some part of it for administrative costs because we've already assigned some resources, assuming that you're doing the course, booked some seats in the exams and all that. Now that costs us something, so we keep that money and then we refund the remaining to you, and you can use that for other purposes. Okay, so that's the thing. For those of you who are writing exams outside India, there is a facilitation fee. We will retain that facilitation fee for quiz 1 alone, because that's, like I said, already been committed resource as far as we are concerned. but 50% of the fee, facilitation fee, will be retained for those of you who are writing the exams abroad. Okay. Okay. So here is the student status I was mentioning. Okay. So typically on the rolls active means every term you're registering for a course, you're taking course, doing well, going on and on and on, etc. If you did not register to any course for a particular term, you will be put on academic probation. Okay. You can do up to 2 terms like this. Okay, you will retain your ID, all that. It will be called RKA, registration kept alive. There is a small fee you have to pay for keeping the registration alive. And when you can come back to being active uh, by registering for courses in any time. So that's possible only for 2 terms. And if you've been on academic probation for 2 consecutive terms and you do not register for courses next term, then you go to struck off the rolls. Okay, your email ID will be suspended. You have to reactivate, and it's a much longer process if you go into struck off the rolls. Okay, so this is something you should definitely avoid at all cost. Okay, you can also quit the program. If you quit, I think everything gets reactivated, and you need to, there is a fee for you to get readmitted. Then I know you lose your student ID, everything goes away. Then you'll have to come back later on. Okay. Alum, of course, is someone who's finished the BSc program. Then you get alumnus status. Okay, so you can also have various intermediate steps. You would have certified at the foundation level, certified at the DS diploma level, certified at the programming diploma level, certified at both diplomas level. And of course, alumnus comes when you finish the entire BSc. Okay. Okay, GPA and CGPA, I don't want to go into details here. There's a standard calculation. Many of you might be familiar with it. We'll give you a term-wise progress card, a grade card. All of these will be available to you on your dashboard as well. Okay, so access to previous term courses will always be there. Videos anyway are a public playlist on YouTube. You just have to subscribe to those things, and you will get it on your YouTube all the time. Okay, so what documents do we need during enrollment? There is a class 12 or equivalent in 2019 or earlier. That is category 1, as in you finished your 12th on or before 2019. Okay, then you don't need anything else. You just have to give 12th or equivalent. You can also give other certificates of your degrees or highest level of certification. That's possible. The second category is you cleared class 12th within the last 2 years, in which case you need 2 documents, standard 12th or equivalent, and either a bachelor's program admit card or mark sheet or something to show that you are active in another program, which is a requirement for us. If you need any exceptions on this, you can write to support and see what we can do. Okay, exams outside India, we have few cities in which we do exams. UAE is the most popular, Sharjah, Abu Dhabi, Dubai, but we also do have centers in Sri Lanka and Singapore, depending on how many people apply. For these kind of exams, you need to bring your laptops. There'll be a center there. The platform, I mean, you have to log into one URL and then start doing your exams. Exam timing is synchronized with timings in India. So you have to write whenever the exams are going on in India. So these are all tough constraints, but I think people in UAE find it reasonably comfortable to do so. The tuition fee is the same. We don't charge any additional fee, but there is a facilitation fee for the exam center in outside India. For UAE, for instance, it's rupees 2,000 for each exam session. Okay, so I think if you've already registered for courses, you'll know this portal. This is how the course page looks like. The content comes to you online week after week. There are lessons, there are activity questions, there are tutorial lectures, there are various other types of teaching material made available to you, activity questions, assignments. Those are very important. Practice assignments, graded assignments, live sessions. A lot of activity happens on the portal. Important to look at the announcement tab. As soon as you join the program, you'll see that you're getting a flood of emails. It's difficult to read through every email, difficult to remember, I know, but this is very, very, very important. From our side, we will assume that you are reading every announcement completely, you understood everything clearly, and you're keeping tab of everything that is put out on the announcements for you. It's an assumption that we will make. Later on, you cannot come and say, it was there in the email, I got it, I didn't see it. It's not an acceptable excuse at all. Okay, so make sure you follow everything that is there in the announcement. Okay, so the main academic discussions related to a course happen on the Discourse Forum. Okay, so Discourse Forum is quite active. A lot of people keep asking questions and answering questions on the Discourse Forum. I can give you a hint, your activity on the Discourse Forum is monitored. We have data on who's participating, who's not participating. And based on your participation, there are some good things that will happen to you in the future. Okay, so keep that in mind. Participate very, very actively in the discussion forum. So course participation is a metric that we will measure, and keep in mind that's very, very important as you go through the course. So make sure you participate in the discourse forum whenever possible. So here's a course tab, scores tab. This is important. This will have all the marks you've got so far. So this is what you should use to calculate all those things we mentioned, the GAA, your eligibility for the final exam, and all of those things. So there is a tendency that students have that once they become eligible, once they've got the best possible score, they don't attempt any more assignments. I think that's to your detriment. You will lose your grades. If you lose grades, if you lose CGPA, you lose a lot of things. So CGPA is very important. Make sure you get good grades and by doing everything within the due date. Okay, there's also a calendar. You can see that the calendar is full. There's lots of events that are going on all the time. There are many different live sessions, and it's a bit difficult to keep track of all of them, but you should learn how to do it. It's very important. So the calendar has all the activities that are happening, including when the contents get released, when assignments are due. All of those things are there in the calendar. You can subscribe to this calendar. Make sure it shows up in your calendar as well, and you're reminded of your work regularly. Okay, so here is a little video. Should I play this video? No? Okay, so there's a play. This video shows how you can go and add this calendar to your calendar. It's very easy. It's something that you can do. Okay. Okay. So here is the content that is released every week. I told you it's an intense program. Even every course is intense, as in it has a lot of content coming out at you. There's first of all videos that faculty record with lectures, then activity questions. Every video has activity questions. Make sure you answer the activity questions. A typical complaint that a lot of students do is, I went through the lecture, but I'm not able to answer the activity question. It means you didn't actively listen to the lecture, you didn't take notes, you weren't paying active attention, and you weren't trying to use what was being taught in problem solving. So I think that's very important. Look at the videos, look at the tutorial videos in particular. Many faculty tend to solve problems during the lectures, or instructors will solve problems during the lectures. So make sure you see how they're solving the problem. That will be useful for you in the activity questions. Practice assignments. There are multiple practice assignments in many weeks. There are graded assignments, those which you have to solve and submit. Now, there's a lot of temptation from students to simply copy the answers of the assignments. Don't do so. It can really hurt you. It's not useful at all. You're not learning anything. It doesn't help you get good grades. Okay. There are transcripts and notes that are available, reference books. There is a mock test before the exam. Okay, so mock tests are very important. I cannot emphasize them more. A lot of people ignore the mock test at their own peril. Okay, so you have to make sure you attempt the mock test properly. If there are multiple mock tests, make sure you attempt all of them. This can help you a lot to score better. Okay, a lot of students ask, how do I score better? How do I score better? I seem to be understanding everything. I'm not able to score better. And then they'll say, oh, mock test, I didn't attend. Okay, so that's really defeating your own chance of success. Okay, so you have to do the mock test. Okay, so make sure you note down when the mock test is. Make yourself available. Time yourself in these mock tests. Okay, time is very important. The exams are timed. Okay, and you have to get the answer right within that time. So it's very important, right? Discussion forum and live sessions are very important. Like I said, your activity in the discussion forum is monitored by the team, and you will get some interesting benefits if you play an active role in the discussion forum. Okay. So again, this should give you a warning as to why you should not do too many courses if you're not sure about the time. You have to spend significant time on every course. Okay. There are 4 types of live sessions every week for every subject. Okay, so some of these live sessions stretch over 1 hour, 2 hours, and it's good to watch, be part of these live sessions. You can really benefit from them. Okay, so there are live sessions based on the activity questions of the week. There is a solve with instructor session for the practice assignments. There is a solve with instructor session for the graded assignments. So these are very, very, very useful. If you're not used to problem solving, make sure you attend the solve with instructor session. The instructor solving the problems for you and showing you how it is done. There's also an open session where you can ask any questions you have. Okay, so we've seen in our past that these sessions are very crucial, and if you can attend and make use of them, you really, really, really benefit from them. So I'll highly recommend these sessions. Make sure you attend them. So some tips to prepare well. While you are listening to the lectures, listen actively, pay attention, make notes. Okay, these are very, very important. Have a notebook for every subject. Make sure you're making notes for every lecture. And I think without that, really you're not getting the benefit of all the content. Okay. Attempt every activity question, every practice assignment, every graded assignment on your own, and rely on the live sessions for support if you're finding it difficult. Rely on the Discourse Forum where you can ask questions. If you're finding it difficult, people will help you. Okay. There are a lot of websites where ready-made answers can be obtained. There are a lot of WhatsApp groups, Telegram groups where you will, have a huge temptation to simply get the answer. It's the greatest disservice you're doing to yourself. This is a program that you're doing to learn and enjoy and benefit from. Don't miss this opportunity. Okay, so make sure you ask questions in the Discourse Forum. That's the best way to get your doubts cleared. Now, there is a very active student life outside academics. We have divided all students into 12 courses, 12 houses, sorry, named after forests in India. You might be familiar with what group you are. Make sure you are active in your house groups and participate and get to know who your fellow students are. And I think it's a lot of fun to participate in inter-house type of competitions and activities. And really, I think these are all largely student driven, right? So students organize many of these competitions, and a lot of students do a lot of sessions for their houses and groups, helping each other. I think it's very, very important. And I hope you can participate. You don't have to be afraid. There's an inclusivity, equity in the participation in houses. We are committed to that. And there's also formal complaints in case you have any grievances with how these things happen. Okay, so it's very important. I think more than the technical knowledge, I think this kind of knowledge can go a long way in your career. I mean, after a certain time, technical knowledge sort of saturates with you. But these kind of leadership and organizational skills is what stays with you for the length of your career. Okay. So what kind of learner support do we offer? First of all, there are fee waivers available, scholarships available for if you are disadvantaged in any way. We do offer placement internship support for as you get closer to graduating. You will hear more about this. The primary administrative support is through the support@onlinedegree.iitm.ac.in email ID. Any operational question you have to ask them about anything. Of course, for academic support, you have Discourse Forum. That's different. This is for any other administrative and operational support. Okay. On outside of this, if you want to write about some personal issue, wellness issue, any other type of support you need, which you want to not ask our operation people, you should write to student affairs at onlinedegree.iitm.ac.in. This email ID you can use to write about any other wellness issue or some other issue that you want support for. Okay. So now this is a tough part of the slide where I have to talk about malpractices. Unfortunately, in a large-scale program like this, we do find that students indulge in malpractices. There is a disciplinary committee comprised of faculty at IIT Madras and with student representation also. Together, we have evolved a graded punishment policy for academic malpractices during exams. Okay, so depending on the level of the offense that you commit, you may get U grade in one course, you may get 1 grade lesser in all courses, U grade in all courses. You may be debarred from registering for a subsequent term, or you may be even expelled from the program. All of these things can happen depending on how severe the malpractice it is. There is a document available to you on malpractice and what the graded punishments are. All of these are described in clear detail. Make sure you go through them, and of course, there's no need to indulge in any malpractice. If you're well prepared, this is not a route you should take at all at any time. Okay, there's also non-academic misconduct. So rude behavior to our support staff, rude behavior to others in the program. Generally, spreading false information, cyberbullying is a big deal. All of these are dealt with very, very seriously. Once again, there is a clear document which we have evolved with, with student participation. We have evolved a very clear document which puts out punishments. These include probation with warning, will reduce your CCC. You can be debarred from participation in internship placement process, and even rusticated from the program. So all of these can happen depending on how serious a non-academic misconduct that you come. Okay, a few words on web etiquette. I think this is an important topic. All of you are in the new generation of students. You'll be born with the internet. You know what it means to communicate and the power of the internet. This whole program is online. However, I've seen quite often students being very rude and very curt in their emails and their communication, particularly to support staff and definitely to some of their fellow students as well. Let me point out, and let me also request that there is absolutely no excuse or reason for being rude. Okay. There are rules, particularly on the operational side, there are rules, there's information, and all this is given far ahead of time. And in a large operation such as this, there can be 1 or 2 small slip-ups here and there. These are unavoidable. Nobody is perfect in some sense. And we are also not perfect, even though we shout at others when somebody else is not perfect. We are also not perfect, and we should understand that, and we should be very, very courteous. Make sure anything you write and send to somebody, you will be okay receiving that from your side also, right? So think of it like that, and be polite. If you're polite and you point out mistakes, believe me, things get done much, much easier. Okay? And of course, you should also be willing to accept limits. If you made a genuine mistake and somebody is pointing that out very politely and telling you that, it cannot be reversed, it cannot be reversed, right? So you have to be willing to live with the consequences of some of the mistakes you make as well. Okay. And the last point is something that will be very seriously enforced by us. Every law that protects dignity and diversity in the country is applicable on the web as well. We have legal mechanisms to enforce these things. Remember that. There is absolutely no place for anything offensive, discriminatory, or of any message of that sort. Be very, very careful about what you write. That regard. Okay. So web etiquette is very important. Please follow this and be an ambassador for the program. How you interact with others shows what kind of training you're getting, how professional you're going to be, a decent citizen, contributing positively to growth of society. All of these things are very, very important. So what is cyberbullying? I should talk about it during orientation. This is very important. There are careful definitions. Any aggressive act that you intentionally do, okay, so by you or by a group, using electronic means primarily, because it's cyberbullying, and repeatedly over time you're doing it to cause offense and difficulty to another person. So this kind of cyberbullying is considered very aggressive. It humiliates people. It results in a lot of difficulty for everybody. Okay, you may not be at the receiving side of these things, but when you're at the receiving side, it really hurts, and it's very hard to overcome these things. And there are some examples. You may be spreading lies about somebody in social media. You may circulate something aimed at another person. You may impersonate. You may be upset with them. So immediately, the emotional response. Let me send one very bad message about this person on social media and shame them. Right? Resist that temptation. Don't ever do anything like that, which could be construed as cyberbullying. And we will take very serious steps about it. The non-academic malpractice clearly defines what we will do for each of these things. Most of us know what these things are, and please don't do it. Don't ever go anywhere near this kind of behavior. Okay, so sexual harassment at the workplace is considered a very, very serious offense according to the laws of the country. So I have to tell you, this is also defined in our non-academic misconduct rules, but I'm going to take this opportunity to say a few words about it. A lot of us grow up in different circumstances, different types of societies where one gender is highly privileged when compared to the other gender, that you don't even know what is the meaning of unwelcome behavior, what is the meaning of sexual harassment. And this is perpetuated by our mainstream media, which sort of glorifies sometimes this kind of behavior. Okay, so sexual harassment is any unwelcome behavior, and who decides what the unwelcome behavior is? Not the person who's doing it, but the person who's at the receiving end. Okay, so keep that in mind. You can't say, "Oh, I only did this." How did they take off? That's not the reason. That's not the definition for sexual harassment. The person who was harassed gets to decide whether it's unwelcome or not. So remember that. And since you're going to be interacting with a wider group of people with different ways in which they grew up, different ways in which you grew up, what you think of as acceptable behavior may not be acceptable for many people. So you have to be very careful, very cautious, particularly in contexts involving any sexual content that you want to distribute. That you might have been doing it in some other place. You may feel that's okay, but that's not considered acceptable. Any advances or any comments that you might make which is sexualized, all these things are considered harassments. These are just examples. There could be anything else which is considered harassment. So what do you do if you feel harassed? Okay. So according to Indian law, you have a fundamental right to have a workplace which is free of harassment. Okay, there's no need to feel embarrassed about it. You are not responsible for the fact that you got harassed. Absolutely not. The person who harassed is the person who's committing the crime. You keep a careful record of how the harassment happened. This is very important. Any messages, SMS, posts, you need to take a screenshot, save things, keep it very, very carefully, because you need to prove things sometimes, right? So even though you know that you are getting harassed, it needs to be proved because it's a grievous, serious offense. Once you have a record of that, you can write to students-grievance at onlinedegree.iitm.ac.in explaining what the harassment is, and we will take steps to handle that. Okay, once again, I want to warn you, we all come from diverse backgrounds. Be very careful, get yourself educated about what is sexual harassment. We have given you some examples here. There are other places where you can go learn about this, and make sure you respect the laws here. Okay, so now a little bit of a detail about who your peers are and who are all the students that you are studying with. The number of students is quite large. You can see, for instance, that about 30,000 students applied 1 year back, and over April and September together, more than 23,000 students have applied to this program. There's a large number of students, very, very diverse. I really like the fact that it's diverse. Look at the age. A lot of people in 10 to 20, 21 to 30, obviously, but there's lots of people above 30 also, 31 to 40, 41 to 50. And if you are in the slightly older category, we expect you to bring in maturity into the program. Sometimes young kids tend to get very heated up. They say a lot of things emotionally. We expect the older people in the group to bring in more calm and tell them, this is how life is. You have to grow up and all that. Okay, so that's very important. The gender-wise, we have a reasonable mix. We would like it to be better, but it's okay. It's not too bad. And a wide range of goals. And many of them want the degree. They feel the degree is very important. It's great to see. and also different backgrounds, not just engineering, technology. We have people from management, we have people from arts, science, commerce, and the same thing is continuing as we go along as well. Okay, so that's nice to see. And in terms of state-wise distribution, you can see, September, April, November, we have representation from every single state, okay, spread across the country. We're really proud of this. So many people from every single state. Andaman and Nicobar is represented, Sikkim is represented. There are people across the country who are taking part, and we have 200 plus in UAE and 70 plus in countries outside of UAE as well. So you see, you have such a diverse group, and this is something that you should enjoy and benefit from, right? So, and it also points out the need for you to be very sensitive about respecting diversity and dignity in a shared environment like this program. Okay, I hope you enjoy this, and you can claim friends all across the country. Whichever state you go to, you will know somebody because of this program, and that's wonderful, isn't it? So, so how many people are completing courses? You can see people are completing courses, even though I said it's a very tough program. If you look across the courses, there are 10,700 people who have completed various number of courses. 193 of them have completed 12 courses in 3 terms. So that tells you that they are the sort of the star students. And then you have 11, 412, 10, 9, 8. Look at that, 19,921. You start seeing the numbers pick up as we come lower. So there are a lot of students in this program, and many of them will be part of your house, and you will interact with them and benefit from their knowledge of having gone through this program and done well in the program. Okay. Okay, so here are a few questions. Just like I said, at the end of every lecture, we have activity questions just to check if you've been paying attention. So here is the first question. I'm going to rely on Bharti to answer some of these questions in case I don't know. How many courses can I choose if I got 73% in the qualifier? I believe that answer is 4 or lesser. Okay, less than or equal to 4.
4 is permitted.
Yeah,
you register
up to 4 is possible. Like I said, depending on your actual time that you think is available, you can choose to do lower. Lower is definitely allowed, but 4 is the maximum. Okay. May I use income certificate issued by state government instead of prescribed format? No. This is a sort of a requirement from many of our sponsors for fee reduction and all that. So we cannot use the state government issued income certificate. The certificate that we want in that format has to be produced.
Yeah, but in some cases where the local office is not issuing the certificate in our format alone, we are giving a waiver for now that you can do as long as it is certified by the proper authorities in the government, and we can validate and verify that. So as far as possible, please use our format so that we can easily check it. But if the local office is refusing, which we have seen in some states in some cases, then we give a waiver option to say that we will accept it.
So we would also know which states these are from our experience. So if you're genuinely facing this difficulty, right, but do try. Most often, if you go up to the official and explain this program and give you a format, they are in many cases willing to give you the certificate in the format you want. Okay. So if you opt for 3 courses, do you have to do a semester with only 1 subject? The balance, yes, you may end up in a situation like that, right? So there are 8 courses needed for the foundation level, and unless you clear the foundation level, you cannot register for any course in the diploma level. So that's the situation. So supposing you clear 7 courses in 2 terms, you have to repeat one of those courses in the 8th term. There's nothing you can do. It is a bit unfortunate, but that's how the rules of the game are. Okay. So can I submit my college's fee receipt as proof of counseling, since my college has not started it, so I don't have any ID card or admit card? I think these kind of exceptions are possible. So what you should do is definitely write to support about it. I think it's possible. We have given exceptions in the past for such college's fee receipt. Yes, it's allowed. That's accepted. And also, I think if you have a difficulty in complying with the physical college admission, you please write to support. We'll see what we can do on a case-by-case basis. Okay. I would like to join from January. What should I do? Should I fill any form for that? Do I have to write qualifiers again to continue in Jan term? If you wrote qualifiers and passed in the 3 previous terms, right? That is beginning with April.
The November won't be valid.
No, the previous November won't be valid. But if you did April or September, yes, you can continue in the Jan term. You don't need to write qualifier again. You don't need to write any form or fill any form or anything.
Just go and register.
Yeah, I think it should just allow you to register. The workflow allows for that. It should be possible. So if you are writing the qualifier in January, yeah, I mean, you can continue in January also. Right? So all those options will be given to you in detail. Okay, these are the questions. There are more questions coming. I may be going to foreign country. You'll be going abroad in the next year. But I want to continue this degree. So can I continue this degree from Australia? Wait, Australia is only okay. Anyway. So I may be going to Australia in the next year. Must be the correct word. Yes, it is possible to continue in some cases. Please write to support describing your exact situation and why you have to do this, and we will try and facilitate something like this for you. Okay. Will the assignment marks and qualifier marks be carried forward if 2 or 3 courses are registered for January or May semester? I don't think I quite understood the question. Let me repeat the question and see if this is the way I understood it. If you registered for 2 or 3 courses, say in the January semester, and let's say you failed in those 2 courses, those marks do not carry over for you in May. You got a U grade. Okay.
We can take questions from now.
Yeah, anyway, I think I'm told it's an imprecise question, so we'll leave it. I think I addressed it in the previous thing. If you got a U grade, you have to repeat the entire course. There's no carrying forward. If you got an I grade, it carries over only for the next term within your CCC. Okay, so keep that in mind. When will we be added to the houses and groups? I think as soon as you qualify, you get added to the houses and the groups.
The term after that. So if you're a qualified student who has finished exams in October or something like that, and you're registering, maybe you even did a couple of courses with us in the September term, you'll get added to houses and groups now. We'll tell you where you are, where you belong, and who will be your group leaders and so on. That will happen now. If you're going to appear for your qualifier in January month, then you will be added to your houses and groups provided you qualify in the month of April. So basically,
one term delay. The next term after your qualifier, assuming they register, right? If they postpone,
assuming they pass and they register.
Yeah, assuming you pass and you register. Can you defer admission to September 2022? It was mentioned that the qualifier will be valid for the whole year. It's valid for the next. If you do it in January, you can go up to September. Yeah, you can register up to September. Of course, not next January. Sorry, so keep that in mind. So the next 2 terms.
Those and maybe just take a questions from the form.
You don't want this? No. All right, I'm going to stop sharing this.
Okay, so those of you on YouTube, I think some questions we've been able to answer there, but we also have a Google form that we have put out. You can ask your questions there. We try to take whatever is possible. If it's a repetition of what has already been said in the last 1 hour, we will not address those questions because you can go back and watch the YouTube video. So those joining after 6:30, 6:45, I would request that you go back and watch this entire video because Rosandro's walked you through the entire process of what has to be done and how the term is going to unfold, what are the courses, what is the grading, etc. So go back and watch this video if you have any doubts. Otherwise, I'll take some specific questions that have come on the form to us. Okay. Yeah. So there is a doubt saying that if I give my end term exam, I missed my end sem exams in the September term, I'm going to register for it in the Jan term to only give my end term exam. What is the grading pattern that will be followed for me? Will it be as per the September term or will it be as per the January term?
Grading pattern is as per the term in which you actually did the course and submitted the assignments. The end term writing term is not the term that will be used. The previous term will be used.
So the September term, if that's when you did the course and the quizzes, that will be the grading pattern which is used for getting your course grades. Okay. If I failed one subject and wish to rewrite it in the second term of the foundational course, do I have to repeat quiz 1, quiz 2, quiz 3 for the failed subject? I think we addressed this, but maybe reiterating the point is good. That if you fail a course, you have to repeat the course. There is no choice for you to do the end term exam only. Failing is normally because there is a combination of a couple of assessments that are added together to produce the final course score. And all these couple of assessments have not given you the minimum required 40 for you to be able to get a pass grade. Hence, the committee felt that you might have to repeat the course, redo the assignments and get through. So if you get a U grade, the only choice is to repeat the entire course end to end, do the weekly assignments, get eligible to do the final exam, go through the quizzes, do the quizzes, then write the final exam. There's no end-term exam option for this new category. Okay. I chose. Okay. So there are a couple of questions which are saying my registration tab is not open. I'm not seeing this particular course inside my registration tab. Then there is something I can't proceed. There have been some technical glitches on our side in the registration form today and yesterday when we opened it. We have been fixing it as we have been seeing various scenarios that have been coming in. In fact, today we had a Google Meet from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. The team was on it and we were resolving issues as we saw. Tomorrow too, we will continue with the Google Meet. Drop an email to support@onlinedegree.iitm.ac.in if you have issues still persisting. Otherwise, do a refresh. Okay, close your entire browser. Open a new browser, log in using your email ID, check whether things work. Many times this actually solves a lot of problems. Your cache might be bringing out something which is redundant. So refresh your browser, try the registration form again. Still doesn't work, drop an email to support. Okay, still you don't get a reply, you're waiting. It is still late in the night. My team also needs a break. Tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. we'll be back on the Google Meet. Come back there and we'll help you out. Okay, I hope this is clear for whatever is the issue with the course registrations. Okay. Okay, this is something that they always have confusion about, and yesterday we got this question. So they have a CCC of 4 and they want to register for improvement of some courses and new courses. So they're asking, how does the CCC generally work? Is it for new courses? Is it for end term? Can I do 5 courses? Somebody is asking 1 end term plus 4 new.
And so on. Total number of courses that you can register for in any term has to be less than or equal to the CCC of that term. You cannot exceed CCC. That total number includes the course that you are writing end term for. Okay, if you're only writing end term in one course, that counts as 1 towards your CCC. CCC will be subtracted. You will subtract 1. If you have CCC of 3, you can write end term for 1 course and register for 2 other courses, or improvement in 2 subjects and register for 1 new subject. Total that you do has to be less than or equal to 6.
Okay. So there is a interesting question. This is based on the new grading pattern that we have brought in. You might want to open that part. I think it is not there in the slide. So there's a document I put in the chat. You might online degree chat. So the first part of it. So there is a new set of opportunities to earn bonus marks.
Should I share this?
Yeah.
Share this.
Yeah. So this we have shared with you too in the grading document. The first part of it, I think we haven't put in a presentation. So maybe we will go through this. This is an opportunity we thought where we should reward students who actually participate in the course on various fronts. So there are 3 fronts we wanted to recognize and to encourage and motivate students to participate actively in the course during the term. Okay. So the first one is doing the practice assignments every week. Like Andrew was saying, we have a practice assignment and a graded assignment. The graded assignment normally students do because that does determine your eligibility for the final exam. This term, in January term, your graded assignments are also going to contribute marks to your final course grade. There is a 10% in every course, foundation and diploma that you brought in. Hence, hopefully all of you will do the graded assignments diligently and not miss out on any weeks. But we also wanted to kind of encourage students to do the practice assignment because more practice is better for you all. So if you do practice assignments, and there is a formula that we come up with, if you do a certain fraction, you get 5 marks. If you do certain fractions, you get 3 marks. So we are going to calculate how many practice assignments you submitted and basically give you bonus points for it. That is the first criteria. The second criteria that we have is your participation in the Discourse Forum. Discourse is the discussion forum that we have. For every course, there will be a discussion forum. We see many students not even joining the forum. Even if they join the forum, they don't read the post. If they read the post, they don't necessarily reply, or they ask the same question without reading that somebody else has already asked the question, and so on. So we want students to actively engage and participate in the discussion forum. I think it's a very valuable skill for anybody to have, especially if you're getting into the corporate industry or the working world after this degree, right? You need to know how to communicate professionally. You need to know to communicate clearly. You need to kind of lay out your thoughts in words. Whatever you think you need to ask should be clear to the other person reading it. So I think these are skills. As you do, only it will come. So there is some set of points we are going to give based on your participation in the discourse forum. There is a brief criteria given. We'll expand on it later on. The third part we would like to again encourage is the live sessions we conduct. Sandra already said we do 4 types of live sessions per course per week. So this is again for you all to interact with the instructors, use their time, ask your doubts, get it clarified, and also, learn better in the entire process. We also get a good perspective when we interact with you to see where you all struggle probably in some parts of the course, which are the concepts maybe that you need more elucidation on, or which we have to expand on, or something like that. And if you don't come to the live sessions, then there's no fun in holding them, right? I mean, these live sessions are exactly for us to interact with you and kind of help you out in the course. So this was another thing that we thought we should incentivize, so that if you come to these live sessions, we will give you some bonus points. So having explained this, these bonus points, I want to make it very clear. It is also listed here. Please go through it. They will not be added to your final course marks to determine whether you pass or fail the course. Only for the students who have already passed the course based on grading patterns, we will add these bonus marks that will help you improve your grade. And the maximum capping we are going to do is 10 points. So you can determine on which activities you're going to do out of these 3 to get those points. You can do maybe 1, 2, 3 parts of it or whatever to kind of get these points. So that is something. So in this regard, there is one question that a person who is, I'm very happy to say, read up grading document is asking. I'm a working professional, don't get too much time to join extra activities or do mock tests. How can I get the bonus mark? Isn't it injustice for me that you're putting in this?
It's only bonus. It's no injustice. I think it's only bonus. You have within the 100, you can get something, and I mean, if you're already working, then you're already qualified in many of these criteria. So we don't have to worry so much about it. This is an incentive. I think, of course, I think none of us work 100% of the time. So maybe our bar for giving these marks is very low. Even if you show an active interest. I know quite a few working professionals who participate quite actively in the discussion forum, so discourse forum. So it's possible. I think definitely practice assignments are a must do. I mean, and giving marks for must do things. I'm actually very surprised we're doing bonus marks for these things. So let's see how people do this. I think I'm keen on seeing more participation. Maybe live sessions are tough. I see that. So maybe you don't do that, but there's many more opportunities, right? So I think it's welcome more ideas. Or if you think there are other ways in which you can help, right? If you think those deserve bonus, we are happy to listen to your suggestions as well.
And just to reiterate, these bonus points will not affect the grade that you get in the course in the absolute term of passing or failing. So it's not like somebody else by getting this will pass, while you probably, because you don't have time and miss out on this, will not pass. So the passing failing is not decided by this. It's only an extra incentive for that. Okay. There is another student who has asked.
Stop sharing, right?
Let it be on, or we can actually go down and maybe you can have one course. So there's another student who has asked, my university has asked for my CV, can I mention this degree program in it? Do you think it will cause problems to me?
You are the best judge of that. If you ask me, how can I judge that? It's very, very, very hard to judge it. Normally, I think reasonably, it should not hurt you. But I think the word reasonable is highly unreasonable in many places. So if you suspect something like that, you are the best judge of that, right? Sorry.
Okay. So there's some student who said that why are there only 2? In fact, a couple of them have written saying why are there only 2 quizzes instead of 3? The 3 gave us better chances of possibly optimizing the way that we do it, or it gave us a better chance to get more marks. Is there any particular reason we have moved to the 2 quiz model instead of the 3 quiz model?
It was coming too close together, right? I think if you look at 3 quizzes and the final exam, there's just 12 weeks, and the final exam is for all 12 weeks, and we have some, catch-up weeks in the middle. There were exams we were doing just pretty much on 1 week's content, and that was not very nice. And also, I think initially, from the beginning of the program, we wanted one exam per month. So if you look at a 12-week term, there should be 3 exams. And we didn't realize that we put 4 exams, and then we were really stretching ourselves thin over that, and it was not the best possible thing. So the way we have optimized is I think this formula works better. I think you will see eventually the 4-week cadence is good for quizzes and exams. You'll get used to it and it'll work out better.
There are a few students who have written saying they wish to take a course for improvement, and they want to know, saying what is the procedure for it. So if you want to do some improvement courses, you'll have to write to support, because we are not directly implementing this in the course registration form. We will enable and facilitate it for you. We'll give you a link to pay, and we'll put it into your dashboard that you can do it. But generally, any thoughts on, when should a student do improvement?
Just don't do improvement. I know we have tried our level best to dissuade people, but people are not getting dissuaded. I don't know what else we can do. I think the fee is higher, right? I think double the fee, but people don't seem to care. They're just so keen on getting better marks. I don't know. I definitely have a lot of experience looking at students, and your CGPA only gets you maybe your first job in some cases, and your attitude and towards what you learned, how you learned during the course, and not just worrying about the marks. All those things count a lot. They take you for the rest of your life, take you along, right? So I think it's don't get so obsessed about getting that extra grade so that your CG goes very high. It's a very poor substitute. That number, that CGPA is a very, very poor substitute for what you are and what you learn. Okay, so focus on that. All these other things will work out very easily.
Okay.
So anyway, long story short, don't do improvement.
So standard questions they have on what is our placement initiatives, whether they can apply for a government job after this.
So the placement initiative is starting. We've had a lot of good meetings with a wide range of companies. Many people are very, very positive. We are putting in place already mechanisms for our students who are graduating with 1 diploma and 2 diplomas later this year. You'll hear about it as you come in, and as you're getting, if you're within 2 terms of a diploma, 1 term of 1 diploma, 2 terms of 2 diplomas, you'll start engaging with our placement team. And it'll already start. I think this January is when we are hoping to start. Okay, so that's on the placement. About applying to jobs to a particular place or eligibility for a particular thing. So the only thing we can say is what we are offering is a legally valid degree. If the eligibility is a legally valid degree, of course you have to qualify, but the eligibility and qualification are actually fixed by the other person. So they are the people who have to come and say this. But from our side, we can definitely tell you it's a legal degree that we are awarding for people. So I don't see any reason why people will not consider this. But having said that, I think there are people, the person who employs you ultimately decides the validity of a degree in some sense, right? The acceptability of a degree for the job. And in case you face any difficulty with a specific type of acceptance, write to us. We are happy to write to them and explain what this program is, what this degree is, how we work on it, and in a reasonable way, tell them why this is a valid degree legally offered by IIT Madras, which is really a very reputed organization. We can say that definitely from our side, you will get that support. Of course, after that, they have to be reasonable enough to understand it.
Okay. Yeah, I think that is bulk of the questions that are there. I don't see anything else which is answered. Yes, like I said, Please write about placements for diploma. There are a couple of questions about the diploma level, about what courses to register, can I do this, can I do that. The orientation for the diploma students, those entering the diploma level in the upcoming term, those who are already in the diploma level and they are doing the second term in Jan 2022. The orientation is tomorrow at 6 p.m. We will meet you at that particular time and we'll take your questions. But one recommendation to all of you, please go through this grading document at least a couple of times. See that you understand all the details given here, when are exam dates, what are the grading patterns. Make note of all the exam dates that are given and how we are going to grade you so that you don't miss, especially the exams in the center as well as what you're going to take from home. Okay. Then these are the timeline for extra activity for statistics too, which has some bonus 10 points as part of the course itself. The dates are given here on when you have to submit it, when you have to do it and so on. So this is also given. Please go through all of this so that you understand. We have also shared with you the weekly plan. When the week 1, week 2, week 3 starts, when are the assignment deadlines for those particular weeks available. So that's also given there. Please go through all of it, mark it on your calendars. And like we said earlier, the calendar which we have shared with you will have all the live sessions that we're going to do, activities we're going to do for every course. Sync it up with your student calendar so that you don't miss out on any event from your side. You can always watch them later. Normally we do stream these events and also save them and share it with you later. So you can definitely see that. Okay. Okay, there are a couple of questions coming on extending the registration date. I'm not sure. I'll have to check with the team also on what is the max possible from our side. Today is 21st. We anyway have it 2 more days, which is tomorrow and day after. So kindly get that done. We will see on what can be done if at all there is an issue post that. Okay. I think that's all we have for now from our side. We can probably close the session.
Okay. Thank you very much to each and every one of you who have participated in this orientation session. I hope we oriented you correctly. It was not just a session of free advice, but you benefited from it. All the very best. We're excited to have you aboard this program. I hope you do wonderfully well in this program and in your career and in your life. Okay, all the best. Thank you very much.